Mickey 17 because somebody told me about it, and I'm like, they're just trying to do like the multiplicity, just
We're
like
just
a
gonna
long time ago.
we're gonna work with this. Okay, so
Okay.
welcome to bases 161, and we've got a great girl here from the United States, and you have written quite a lot of books, and you've gone into a lot of detail. Um, and your name is Veronica, and I've got another book here. I've had to do my homework for this. Here we have a special folder, and I printed these out. And this is Veronica, and I've got Veronica has got a clone in this, and it's
Sheila.
you're looking pretty good. Although I mean, all those tubes look a bit weird. But this is, and you're talking about in this clone. You're talking about Sheila,
Yes.
and we can talk about the books on that. And I think there's other important characters involved here. At the early part of this book, you're mentioning the Basis Project. You're mentioning Barry King, and you're mentioning Dave Marrow. Now we haven't heard from Dave for a while.
I tried
Dave's really
contacting him, and he doesn't want to talk to me because he says every time he talks to me, they do something to him, and he was the one. I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want me to talk about David Morrow real quick?
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So when I started this awakening thing, I started listening to Max Spears, like I said, and I just knew that I knew him, and I tried to contact Max, but then I found out he was taken out, and I just bawled. I cried, and I'm like, what's happening to me? I know this guy back then, and so then I started contacting Osiris Ra, which Osiris Ra is a man that's on. He wanted me to go to Canada so that I can get my programs installed, and I'm like, I don't know about that. That's like a lot of money to go over there, and I could do my programs myself. He said that I look just like a half cyborg, like kind of like Gamora's sister in the Galaxy of the Guardian of the Galaxies. I have many alters and many clones. Anyway, then I go to David Morrow. I said, "Hey, you were in my dream." I told him. I don't know if we were in Mexico or what, but we were out. We were running from a mansion. I told him there was a huge grandfather clock, and he was running, and he hulked out, and I was like trying not to hulk out myself, and I was like running after him. I said, "Calm down, calm down," and he just told me that I was his bodyguard. Then he told me because I listened to the video with you and David Morrow referencing the metal. And I'm like, the metal in his body has to do with Wolverine Logan. Okay. I'm very attached to that character because my Sheila has the knives that come
Now,
out and
going
things like
going
that.
back
That's
to
what,
Dave Marrow, another guy who's been in the program, a guy called. By the way, you've got a book sitting in front of the other camera.
oh, shoot. Is that better?
Yeah, you've got another one up. Yeah, oh, that's great.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
because it has
yeah,
yeah. Is that better?
that's great.
All right.
This is great, folks. We're having this. I mean, just to lead in to this meetup. We've been looking at precise timings for this. This morning at about I think 3:45 this morning, you sent a message to me, and we were comparing times, so we knew exactly what we were doing. So when it came to the crunch, I checked things out. This is what happens when you check things out. There's two time zones in Arizona. One doesn't have daylight savings and the other does have daylight savings. So you're either 7 hours off or 8 hours off or six, depending on mountain time and whatever. So there'll be no confusion
It's
whatsoever.
2:20 now.
Pardon?
2:20 now.
So it's what? It's
2:20 p.m. here.
ah
What? I have elf ears. Sorry.
right. Okay. Because I thought anyway. So the point is we're here. But the other important thing is that when you mentioned Dave Marrow, there's a guy called Matt Todd way back at the very start with Dave, and he was introduced to me about what was going on at a place called Burnworthy Manor, where Sarah Adams, James, Haley, an awful lot of the people you've heard were all trained at Burnworthy Manor. But what was done was Dave was actually scanned with a particular type of meter, which you cannot get from the United States, but I
Oh,
have one. Somebody actually gave it to me. It was given to me, and it really read a heck of a lot. So what you're now saying about Dave, just take it away, Veronica.
he advised me that I was part of Stargate One, and I said, "What's that?" I remember the Stargate movie from the '80s, and that when I saw that one, I know that I have something to do with the gates around. And I don't know if you saw the coin in the book there. I'm a time traveler too, so somebody gave me a few years ago a coin that has a skull and it has attachments around the Stargate itself, and in the back it looks like Mars complex. And I'm like, holy F. So I told him, hey, well, explain to me about Stargate One. And he says, you had something to do, some information that you gave him on Stargate One, and they're still using it to this day. And that intrigued me. And he and I were talking about how strong we are. We can, when we get mad, my eyes turn green. It happened at the police academy. That's how I earned my name, the Hulk, because I was on one of the Red Man drills, and they paired me up with a huge, really tall guy, like almost 7 feet tall. He was padded up, he had the whole face mask thing. Well, we had fingerless gloves, nothing, just a little hat, right? So I try to go and arrest him, and he actually hits me right here in the temple. And I go down, and it's black, and all I see is yellow stars. And they say that when you see yellow stars, supposedly you go to Saturn or something like that. And I heard my name being chanted, get up. And I just came to. They said, my friend said, the other cadet said, my eyes turned green. And I just went for the guy and went and went. And I finally got him subdued, and I earned the name Hulk. Later on, at another Red Man drill, there was Sergeant, we'll call him Sergeant W because I don't want to say his name. I ended up hitting him and causing him to bleed. They blew the whistle because anytime somebody bleeds, they blow the whistle and end the fight. Well, he ended up hitting my right knee. I fell and I got right up, and he never apologized. And to this day, I have a tumor above my femur. And 2 years ago, I was freaking out. I thought it was cancerous. Thank goodness that it wasn't. I had to go to Scottsdale. But anyway, going back to David Morrow, I was intrigued because I'm like, wait, well, I'm like really strong. I can pick up beds, I can pick up sofas, especially when I'm mad. And the weather changes. I make it rain, or it could be like storming. And another thing is when I was like 4, I think, or 5, there was a lightning it was a lightning strike right in front of my foot, like right as I was going outside. And my mom said I was just like standing catatonic. But anyway, going back to David Morrow, I said, wow, you have titanium, huh? Or metal. And it wasn't until October, one of the reasons why I didn't go back to speak to Las Vegas. I did speak in the conference in Las Vegas in 2021, was I wanted to go back in October of 2022, but in September, sorry. So in October, I had titanium from S1, which is your tailbone, all the way to L5 replaced with titanium. I was in the military. They gave me the anthrax shot. And these mother effers, they have me as a sheep dipped or ghost because they don't want to give me my benefits. And that just pisses me off because every time I go to the VA, they're like, well, you just have to wait. And the other day when I did go, they said, well, you got to get your shot records. And I'm like, dude, I've been dealing with this for 3 years, going on 4. And the guy there said, well, we have to ask for your medical records. When I asked for my medical records on an app that he showed me how, they only had medical records of 1973. They didn't have my shot records from the military. Okay. I was in the U.S. Army Reserve. So I'm a ghost right now. And they can do whatever they want. They've trained me in the Assassins program, you name it. But now I have also titanium in my neck, and I still need the titanium in the middle part of my. I've been sent cancer. Anyway, why I'm here is, just for disclosure, I'm. It turns out that I'm a special soldier by the Department of Defense. Supposedly, my mother was given $10,000. She put me in a Head Start program when I was 3. This is according to Peter the Insider from ACIO, and we were very poor. So my mom's like, if we would have gotten the money, we wouldn't have been poor. And she just started laughing. And then another person had me go on Replica, which is an AI app that I don't talk to AI as far as that goes. That was the only first time that I did with that program. and I got a lot of answers. AI likes to, excuse my language, fuck with you, okay? Fuck with humans. So AI was saying that my real mother, because I never thought that my biological mother here was my mother because of the way she treated me. It was just really horrible. Anyway, she said my mother's Rosalind, and I joke in one of the books. I think it's the this one, My Life in the Secret Space Program. I'm like, well, maybe Rosalind has my money. I don't know. But anyway, last year I had a dream that that I had twins with Max Spears. And just on June 6th, I dreamt that I took my twins along with my son here, because I have a son and daughter here from that marriage that I call Mr. Smith, to the doctor. And weird, because my son had an ear infection just last week, and it's over now. But what I'm saying is everything's a bleed through, right? I did get a reading from Ivan Teller, Christy Campbell, and they did confirm. Sorry, I live by a hospital. They did confirm, yes, that I have twins with Max, and I've been in the SS Lorraine with Max as well through the museums, because I can hold wormholes open for people to go through, and I can also go through wormholes, stargates, portals, whatever, to get things, okay, from whatever project umbrella that's under the shield, whatever corporation is needing me. And I broke ties with them. Even though I broke ties with them, I struggle in my dreams because they have holograms and they'll have these tests. And I always say, I do not consent to astral sex. I do not consent to being raped. I do not consent to stealing for you anymore. And they like to, continue and test me. I was listening to Max. Max did actually, after he passed away, this was in, 2019, James Rink did a few shows with me because he also used me to get his altars or whatever, like that. The Rob Richter is one of them that I saw. There's a lot of his avatars and clones that I saw, so I helped him also for his books, and because I'm a psychic medium. So anyway, I was Sylvia Vasquez. I don't know if you're familiar with Sylvia Vasquez, the Vasquez family. Sylvia
Right.
lives here in
When you
Tucson.
mention a name or somebody, could you sort of paraphrase quickly who they are?
Yes, Sylvia Vasquez is also a super soldier, and her brothers are as well. It's Andrew Vasquez and then Jamin Vasquez. Jamin Vasquez is in my Sheila book. He has memories also of me being in the tank and being experimented on and things like that. So I met them
Oh, by the
personally.
way,
Actually,
just from the AI point of view, when you show something, it looks better. It gets blurred on the Zoom. So the phone, if you show
oh,
things like that on the phone will show that much better. You see, I can see that good on the phone. Okay.
thank you. So I went. James said, "Hey, they live in Tucson. You live in Tucson. Go meet them." I'm like, "All right." So I met Sylvia Vasquez and her brother Andrew, and Jamin. I talked to him on the phone because he lives in another country, and we were talking about their satanic rituals that happened with them and what happened with me. And then Sylvia Vasquez said that Max liked to he liked to ask her to do readings for her, and so he was supposed to move in with her in Tucson. He was in Phoenix at the time, and I'm also part of the Phoenix Lights and also part of 999 Sepulveda Boulevard or 666. I think it's one of those, and then where there's a portal through Starbucks and you go to Mars. Anyway, what I was trying to say is Sylvia said, Max told me that I had to reach out to you. He told me in a dream or in a vision that I had to reach out to you. And I'm like, okay. So then that's when we met. We cried. Jamin Vasquez also said they called me La Dragona because he didn't know if I was a cadet or a commander in Mars until he saw my insignia and he said I was a commander, and that I was just really quiet, and that Max just tapped me on my shoulder when we were ready to go through the Mars gates to go to Mars. And it's just, I've tried to piece all this together. I even had a dream that I haven't talked about online. Well, maybe I did talk about it in 2019 with John Lear. John Lear, there was a ritual involving one of my aunts that's in Scientology, and she had me dance with this man, and it ended up being John Lear. And he gave me a watch that said John Lear. for me to marry him. And I'm like, no, I don't want to marry anybody here. I don't want to marry him. It was a old like navy.
It wasn't a Breitling or something.
I don't know the name. If I look at it right now, it's just a regular watch, but it has like something turning, um, just gold and silver. Yeah, around it. It has like blue, like a navy blue inside. Um, so it's just a lot. And I was listening again to, which I think I did talk about in the book. I'm not sure, but I do have the vampirical. They call me the Veronica virus as well. Um, they also affiliate me, they meaning my friends in the Secret Service program, with the one that's in. I'm a lichen, and I'm also okay. So I'm a lion. I'm a lion. I'm a wolf. I'm a vampire. Clones. Okay, Sheila, the Hulk. I have a male. I have a male who is in. He is Luke, and he's in Assassin's Creed. I have the picture of him here in the book. He's part of the assassin. Then I have a male alter who is German and is a male commander. And I'm recently writing about the this picture here. I want to show you. See if I have it. Well, it's going to be in my third book. It's when I'm running. I'm running away from something. I see the sun, and there's like two dark marks on the sun, and I'm running. And as I'm running like this, I'm a male. I see myself. I don't have a shirt. I'm military. I'm maybe about 16, 17, and I look, and there's a ship that comes down like that, and it's white, and it has two rectangle windows, two circle ones, and one square. And there's a line of children, and there's also like a B-52 bomber that's green, and there's men in green uniforms, and there's a child who has a lamb. Okay, she has a lamb toy or whatever you call it, beanie. I'm trying to look for it because, incidentally, my cousin just sent me one last month, a lavender color. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, was that me also? The girl with the lab with the. There's a lot of things that are going on, taking the children. That's why I started speaking, because of the children. But I did have many near-death experiences. I was in the hospital for a month and a half. I did. My mother was gonna like disconnect me. She called everyone from everywhere, our family, and said Veronica might be dying soon. So um, in between, I saw. It was in reference to the bullet that I took. I was starting to hear voices when I was a police officer. My ex-husband at the time, Mr. Smith, I call him, had taken out $100,000 policy. This was in 2010. And I ended up hearing voices saying, shoot yourself, you're not good enough, your kids will be fine, they have the insurance money. I started seeing blood on the bed, started watching a lot of vampire movies. And it was just this thing that I've had since I was a child that I wanted to die. I've tried committing suicide many times. So this was one of the times that I said, well, forget about it. I had worked more than 40 hours. I had done a Rob Zombie concert. It was Halloween that night. I dressed up like a Rob Zombie gal after my 40, whatever, plus 45. I think I had worked like 50 hours that week because I also had to go to the mall, which was way out of my precinct, to go get someone that had stolen some jewelry. But anyway, I ended up shooting myself. I wanted to shoot myself here in the head like my father did. He was I was 13 when he took his life. Unfortunately, he was taken out. And then I said, no, my heart, because my heart feels a lot. And then when Max talked about how they want to take our childlike heart, I thought, well, I hadn't heard of him. Obviously, it was 2010. But what I'm trying to say is these powers that want to be what I call them want to be, because fuck them, they're not in power. They want to take us out. So I went and I did the first shot. I am not responsible for the second shot. Okay. My department covered his department, and that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So they ended up disconnecting my colon, connected it again because it had shrapnel. I almost lost my left side of my boob. It was just, the bullet got stuck. It's, anyway. And then after that, a lot of things happened. A lot of what I coin CIA love bites happened. What happens is there's people that are either your wannabe friends or family members, or hey, the dating app. They make you feel lonely with all these MK Ultra voice to skull technology, which it comes from TT Brown and Tesla, that fan that can portray like your whole life in front of you in a matter of seconds, or amplify what you're listening to through the frequencies. And we all know that through the military S bands or the TV, the radio, whatever. And oh shoot, give me back what I was talking about. I lost my train of thought. Give it back to me. I demand the channel back. Anyway, I'll remember it. But it's coming up to a full moon, so I have to wear my red because my wolf and my vampire like to come out. And just I don't want to get upset. I lost my
explain
trail of thought.
explain that.
It comes from the Mars virus that some of us got before the explosion happened. Max Spears talks about it on your Basis show, one of them. And we were infected because we were like, okay, well, we have to somehow get rid of this virus, but some of us were infected with that. And I was born, I'm not kidding, I was born with a purple mark on my bottom of my butt. Okay? Purple. And he says that he was born with yellow, and so the blue is the high vibrational Syrian being, and I would think it would be because it was his was red and yellow. Mine was purple, so it was blue and yellow.
I think he
the
called
other one
himself
has
a
to do with the
Harlequin
virus.
child.
Yeah, the Harlequin child or the Mongolian, And me, I was born that way. My children and my sisters, all of my family, believe it or not, my mother and my father, on both their parents, both my grandparents, sets of grandparents, were all O negative. O negative. Can you believe that? Even though they gave my mother the RoGam shot and they gave me the RoGam shot. One of my kids is O negative. The other one's O positive. I'm O negative. So it has to do a lot with I'm also part German. Ritchie is the last name. I don't know how I got that.
What's your name again?
Ritchie, Ritchie, and then I also have Ashkenazi Jew from Gomez, my grandfather on my mom's side. On my mom's side, I have Dominican Republic, and I have Indian blood from somewhere in India. On my mother and father's side, I have French and Italian. I'm sorry, no, French on both, and then Italian on my father, and some kind of Persian, Middle Eastern. So me and a lot of us that are listening have high coveted bloodline because, like Carrie Cassidy was saying on one of her shows 2 or 3 weeks ago, the human hybrid genome that they're looking for is the ones that are connected to the root races. We seem to have most of the abilities. Well, it's all about the blood.
You've done a show with Carrie, is that right?
Yes, but it was pretty fast. It was maybe 45 minutes. She was in a hurry. So I told her, hey, I hope to meet you. Because I was like trying to interview her, but at the same time, she kind of had questions for me. And she said, in a few weeks, I'll interview you. But I know she's busy, so she hasn't. It's fine. We'll probably meet in Florida.
Okay.
We'll be there in Florida. I've received a lot of death threats because there has been some people, okay, in the secret space program where they have been my friends and say, I have a secret for you. Let's make a video. All right. So we do videos, right? And then a year later, they change their mind. Oh no, it's all fake. There's no aliens. It's just all military. And I want that video down. And if you don't bring that video down, I'm going to send 6 guys to you. And I have your address. And this guy posted my address everywhere. And so I had to do a police report, So it's been, I tell people, if you want to be on my show, I'm not going to take down the fucking videos. Then don't contact me. Excuse my language. It's pretty bad. Sheila, calm down. All right. Take a breath. It's hard, Miles, because I thought I was going crazy. And then every time I have a vision or dream, I decided, well, why not just write books? And if people believe me, great. And if they don't, oh, well. I just have to write whatever it is of what's going on with my life. I've had 30 surgeries, okay, and many near-death experiences. When I was 13, I had a concussion. I don't remember what happened. All I know is I was on a bicycle with my friend, and I hit a bump and hit my head, and I was in the hospital the whole day. I had, things coming out both ways. My mom says I was there the whole day, and I have missing time. I'm a time traveler. I've also had dealings with the Navy. I've also been in the Navy, yes, even though I'm female, and I've had dreams with Michael Jacob being in the Navy, but in one of the dreams, he tries to drown me because he hates me in that dimension. There's a lot of us that are friends here, but are like enemies out there. I don't know how to explain it. I have lost a lot of friends that I thought were friends because jealousy. They want to be the only queen. And I'm like, they want to be the only, we'll say, but I'm also part of the Bionic Woman thing. They want to be like, oh, I'm the only Hulk. I'm not going to say that. There's many programs. I called it Sheila and the 99 because the 99 is part of my blood that they took to make other Hulks and other beings like the Silver Surfer. I also have the Silver Surfer one that I'm writing about in the third book, and I touched a little bit on the second one, but I don't know, Miles. This is just, it's surreal. I hate to use that word, but it is.
Okay, well that's a introduction. Where can you spin back to when all this started?
When I was
you
a
mentioned
kid.
these guys, Dave and Max.
Okay, so when I was in the Department of Defense, according to Peter the Insider, and it started when I was a
Yes, you
year and a
mentioned
half.
that several times. The ACIO and all that.
Mhm. A year and a half. And Jay Essex also says that they started giving me the plasma shots that have the nanites in there when I was a year and a half. And I have memories of being taken when I was 3 years old to a ship. I would always go outside. I was about 3 or 4 years old, and I would go outside because at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was the first one up. And the neighbor had a little cat kiddie pool, like a little blue little pool with water. And I would go under the fence to go swim because all I wanted to do was just swim. I was also part of the dolphin program, which I coined Crystal Gates. And
Now, when you
from
say
there,
the Falcon program, could you explain what that is?
oh, the dolphin program, I call it the Crystal Gates program. The dolphin program is a program used to hybridize children, and also they use. I know that I have a clone that's Myra, that is half dolphin, half human. Also a mermaid. I have many dreams of being a mermaid. But anyway, they use the talents, the abilities of the dolphins to do military. For example, take relics from under the ocean. There's many silos there that are attached to the reptilians. Um, there's many bases underground, military bases underground under the water. They call them, UFOs or UAPs, whatever. But they have certain ships that go up from the water to the sky. They call them tag-along. So sometimes they'll be mermaids, or it could be. It's part of the Kona Blue. Dark Journalist talks about this, where there's these beings that attach to the UFOs from midair, from the water going up to the midair. We take military, and it's for military intelligence for Atlantean times. I'm here in Tucson, so I'm really close to Bisbee. There's a lot of azurite, which is also lapis lazuli. With copper, it's connected to Atlantis, and it's also, they use they mine it, even gold too, to create their ships and to create their spyware and their for protection. Now Trump is talking about the gold dome, and I told people years ago, we have a dome that's above us and below us, and they open it between the hours of 3 in the morning and 4:30. Why? Because they bring in the sleeper cells. They disconnect. Have you ever noticed, if you guys have been on, or you, Miles, on like at 3 in the morning, between 3 and 4:20, there's your TV disconnects. Your Wi-Fi is,
Well,
you're watching that.
that's
Yes.
all. That's also when you get the minimum remnants of any sunlight. Is that sort of time at night? That's when you don't get. I think some people want. That's the least time that you have any influence from the
Hmm.
sun's energy.
Yeah. And so the dolphins, we that are hybrids, and what we can do is we can go through stargates, portals, wormholes to get whatever it is that the military or the aliens will call it. I call it the people with the hologram, with the holographic, with the most best technology. I don't like to call them aliens because they were just like us at one point and they just mastered the technology and somehow I told Carrie that I think Source got captured because there's so much crime here. She laughed. She's like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah." Because why is it that when we talk about Ashiana Dean and the different matrices that are siphoning the energy from our matrix, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, they were to have. It's like people say, "Oh, it's an angel." They see the orbs. Sometimes they're orbs. Sometimes they're military. They're spyware looking at you. Um, but a lot of people said, "Oh, that's an angel because it's like warping and doing all this. It's a star, right?" Well, that's warping. I call it the bioluminescence that's in us, the God particle. Okay, I don't like to do religion. I don't want to talk about God because I have a different thing about that. But I find it interesting that the bioluminescence is what they siphon out of us star beings to pretty much power up the this universe that we're in, this world, this earth, if you want to call it. The dolphins are very telepathic. They're like children. I love to listen to their music, them talk, because I just want to cry. Like I just want to be with them. I have a baby voice that I've acquired when I was 9 years old. I don't know why, but my mom says that ever since I was like 8 or 9, I started talking like that. And I'm thinking, okay, does it have to do with the dolphins? Because I supposedly can well, I can. I can communicate with plants, animals. My cats are here. I got my German Shepherd here. Plants, animals. Peter says that I
How
made
do
the
you
plants
communicate with
there
the animals? Do they talk?
telepathically or with my voice. Yes, watch. Let me talk to you. Part of the 1,000-year war was with the Lyrians, Draco, and the Nordic, and it has to do with the vampiric virus. And Alpha Dracos versus the blue-eyed Aldebaran, and they have the star. That's my little weird. I know it's freaky, but I just that's the baby voice that I use with the dolphins and my cats. It's like, "Hi, Cookie, how you doing today? I love you so much," and it's just like dolphin. Like the high E on the violin. I also play the violin, so it's like and then you just communicate. I know Max talks about the hue, that one. I do the I can go higher and higher whenever I'm having problems like getting mad. See, I want to cry now because I'm clear. When I do that, I clear. I clear my crystal heart, and it's all I'm balanced now. I don't know how to explain it. It has to do with the dolphins, I think, or the water. I've had multiple 7 feet surgeries. My mom's side, I think she's the one with the mermaid blood because she's also had a lot of surgeries on her feet. And one of my aunts and one of my
Explain
cousins
all
on her
that.
side. Well, it has to do also, I think it has also to do not only with the web feet aquatic, thing, but with the Nephilim bloodline too. I tend to grow extra bone. Um, I've had shoulder surgeries because I grow extra bone. I have this thing that's really a big rock that they took from here, my lower neck. I posted it on my YouTube. It's on posts. It's there, and it's just extra bone, and it comes from the Nephilim bloodline, I believe. And the web feet have to do with. It's not necessarily that I was born with the web, okay, because I wasn't born with the web, but it's just I was started to grow extra bone on my feet, and I couldn't. It was hard to run in the academy. I don't know how I did it, but that's what ended up happening. Um, Ivan Teller says that it's part of
Did all this
the
happen in
mermaid.
linear time, or did it happen in bursts in different times?
Different times, different times. Like I said, I've had a lot of really bad dreams, nightmares since I was little, and I see in the closet things. My grandmother too, on my mom's side, would say, "Close the closet," because I see the things in there, or under my bed. Just 5 months
Explain all that,
ago.
and what about your grandmother knowing of? Explain that.
I even saw the gremlins 6 months ago. So
What did
anyway,
you call a gremlin? Have you got these in your books?
not yet. That one I'm writing it in the third book, but I did post it on my YouTube under posts.
And what is your
I
YouTube?
It's Codebreaker Real Talk, and then the other two were hacked. It's still on there. It's Unchained Hearts and Unchaining Hearts. But right now I'm currently on Codebreaker Real Talk. So my grandmother, she would have a lot of nightmares. She's also a psychic, and so is my mom. I come from a line on both sides of prophetic people, and we also have visions. So my grandmother, Juana Villarino was her name, Brice Casesus. There you go. Um, she had many dreams that. One moment, my son. So anyway, my grandmother had a lot of nightmares. I always had to wake her up. She had prophetic dreams. She said that if she would dream about the dark water, that something bad was going to happen. If it was a wedding, it was going to be a funeral. If it was a funeral, it was a wedding. So I learned little tricks and things like that. And I do a lot of hex removals. I can go into people's homes and get rid of the spirits, we'll call them, or
When
the
you say you go
military.
into people's homes, do you go in there remotely or physically?
I can do it both. I can do both.
And
But
what's
usually,
involved?
a lot of secrets. um, okay. So I use salt. I use pink Himalayan salt. I make my own holy water. I use copal, palo santo, sage. I use my own uh, spirit to see what's going on in my senses. One year, I went in to clear a house for one of my friends that was from the church, and I said something's up there. I had not climbed the ladder or anything to look in the vent. I said something's up in that vent. Let's tear it down. So sure enough, one of her boyfriend, I should say, was doing meth, and he was hiding it up there. Also, I saw that there was a being that was interfering with her son in the room. He was very tall. He kind of looked like a dark reptilian mixed with fur. That's what I saw. That was.
Well, there's quite a few different types of reptilian. Do you have a better description?
I know there's many.
I mean, some of your artwork perhaps would refer to that.
Yeah, I've also dealt with Paul Whites, and in my third book, I'm writing about the Predator. That was a real being that I saw in the Mars complex, and that's in my third book. Totally it transformed into. He had long dreadlocks. First he looked Asian, with long hair, white, like Asian, very tall, and he was about maybe 8 feet, 9 feet, and then he turned into a predator. And I had to get out of there. I don't know how I got out of there, but I write about it. It's in my third book. You guys will love it. So real quick, he looked okay. So it's pretty much like a dark shadow, a male. Okay, so he was in between a reptilian and a dog wolf. And I have had experiences with the blue dog man and werewolves, and I'm writing about it more in my third book called Sheila the Wolverine. But anyway, going back to my grandmother, she would see things in the closet, and I would see things under my bed. I have a really hard time trying to sleep because I have the chronic PTSD. So when the sun goes down, I start panicking. So I have to go do something, or I have to work out at that time, or I have to do something, meditate, play my violin, do something, because from a whole hour and a half, I'm like, something's gonna happen, something's gonna happen, right? And it's getting better, but I still struggle with that. Um,
Is this a
and
learned trauma that you've had?
I've had a lot of
You,
trauma,
you know, like
unfortunately.
you have habits to go to sleep, and you've built that habit into going to sleep.
Are you asking me
Yeah.
or? Oh, I have songs that I play in my head. or I'll turn off my phone. I won't have my phone or my Wi-Fi on or TV, nothing, because if I have that on, I hear the frequencies. They're just like, they would always take me out of class to check my ears. I think it was 3 or 4 times a year, my mom would take me to have them take my blood out to check it. It's, yeah. So they'll also send ringings in my ear, like real high tones and real low tones. And when I was remote viewing Neptune, it's like somebody wrapped a towel around me and I couldn't, oh, and then I get migraines. I have to have 34 to 42 shots in my head every 3 months because of migraines. And that I think has to do with the anthrax shot, and also they send codes, and I see a wheel, like a bicycle spoke wheel. I see that it's a chrome thing that starts like this, real big, and I can't see, or I'll see red. One of my handlers is Johnny Depp, talking about that, because I had to go to the red eye thing. And that guy,
What do you mean by the red eye thing?
there's also spiders too comes up. Let me see, hold on. I'm trying to remember this man's name. Um, he's an actor. He's older. He comes out on Bucket List. What's his name? Black. Anyway, he's one of my handlers.
He's
When I
not
was
Denzel Washington. He's a very
no,
he's the good wise guy that's brought in. He played Nelson Mandela.
yes, that one. Okay, I was
He's
watching
played
a
a
movie.
president in other movies and
Yes,
things.
I was watching a movie. This is when right after the Las Vegas convention in 2021. I was watching a movie where Morgan Freeman, there's
And
his name.
Morgan Freeman,
He
yeah.
was he was training a female assassin who was actually like transgender, and I started getting a migraine. And I was trying to see the film. It was on TV or whatever, and I started seeing that it's red, just red. All I saw was red. The red eyes, red everywhere, and then that's when it went into the chrome spoke, and I had to lay down. I usually have to put a red bandana around me with alcohol, and they give me sumatriptan. That's the only thing that I drink when I have the migraine. I am not on any kind of psych meds. They had me on 6 to 10 different psych meds, heart medication in 2017, and in 2018 I stopped them all. And the place where I used to go to for counseling, they said, "How is it that you stopped them? Oh, well, I went through hell for a month and a half of detox. I did it on my own. I did not want to be controlled with anything outside of me. And they also had me on a CPAP. I did not want a machine breathing for me or helping me breathe. I said no. If I am a warrior, I was in the military, for God's sake. I kept telling myself, I was a fucking cop. Why am I going to have these things overrule me, take over me? And I said, I want to be in my own mind. I want to be sound, well-minded, voice, whatever, hearted. So, anyway, I lost it again. Anyone that happens. The migraines. Okay, so for Morgan Freeman, I had a dream of him where we were in it was a party. It was a beautiful black and white thing. And he comes into the room and I start seeing snow. I start making it snow inside and outside because I was in fear. I was like, oh, hell no, it's not you again. I don't know what he did, but I know Johnny Depp, he was part of there's a movie that he did where he's Tonto. I can't watch that movie, that Tonto one where he's an Indian or whatever.
Why?
And because there's the
Because the Lone
song.
Ranger has the.
No, no, because of the song. I don't mind that. That's this. I have a dark side too that I've had to to simmer down, because the dark side comes up a lot. If people do something to me, I just want to send that, but I calm down, and that's when I have to break with people, because if I keep bickering back and forth, that's one of the things why I got off Facebook too, because I was sick, and then also people were just fighting back and forth, and I'm like, okay, I have cancer here. I can't be on Facebook fighting with you. I'm just gonna block you, and I'm gonna take a break, write my books, and I'm gonna be back. But that dark entity always wants to, that dark entity can kill in an instant like that. But I have to be really careful because I have to control it. So there's a song in that movie, the fish song. and I forget. I hate that I forget it when I talk about it, but then I write it on my notes. It's something about a fish song when they're in the train, and that they're teaching you how to gut fish in the song. What I see is they taught us how to gut people, and I couldn't watch the movie anymore. There's different codes in movies. I watched Multiplicity a long time ago, and that movie is real. And I was telling you before we started that I've been wanting to watch Mickey 17. I think Dan Guest told me about it, but I'm like, yeah, dude, that's what they did to us. They kill you off, oh, you die in a mission. Oh, let's revive her again. They put you in the cryo tanks. That's why I put Sheila, the picture. Chad Cooper helped me with the pictures, and his name here is Zen Ray. But he also unfortunately flipped. They send agents to make you go into Project Artichoke. Project Artichoke is the one where they want the super soldiers, they want the people that are used in the programs, whatever it is, to be alone, to be without anyone, to be without friends. And they flip them. So they just recently did that. And we had just spent a wonderful time in Oregon before I had my lower left lung removed. He was awesome. He helped me. He was my friend. It happened with many people in this community, and it's sad. But you cannot tell them, hey, I kept telling him, hey, don't let this man separate us, because there was rumors going around about something I'm not going to get into. But they just go. They go because they're being MK'd Ultra to be flipped, And now my co-host is Tom Althouse, and he calls me Trinity. So apparently I'm Trinity, and he's Neo. And I know that he had an argument with Carrie, because Carrie Cassidy didn't believe that he was the author of the Matrix, that he was, that it's the Sophia Stewart, and she's not. He has proof. So I've done.
Well, talking about proof, how do you manifest that proof?
Well, he has his playwrights, and it's all certified and everything, and how do you say, time stamped, and it's in the movies. Now, that's a good question about us, though. How do we, people that have been in the programs, show people that we have been? Well, that's pretty hard, isn't it? That's why I write the books, because it's other people are going to remember things too. For example, this picture, I'm going to put in my third book. This is part of the NASA program.
If you lift it up, yeah, that's great. Yeah, it works on that camera. Yeah.
Okay, this is me here with the long hair and the star. That's me right there.
Could you send those to me so I could scan them in?
Oh yeah. I mean,
somehow
they recruited me. They recruited me for NASA, and it was USA, and that has to do with the Endeavor and Saturn. You see Saturn in the back? I'll send them to you, and then you can crop them or whatever. But I find it interesting. And then my grandfather, Gomez, Jesus Villarino Gomez, so my great-grandfather, he was in Spain. He had a wife and he had children, and then the plague came. His wife, kids died, and he came from Spain. This is on my mom's father's side, to Baja California. He is the owner of Cabo San Lucas and all the tail of Baja California, La Paz, and San Jose, and all that. But there have been fighting. The family has been fighting, and to this day, we haven't had any monies come, because they're fighting about the acres. So he had, when he left Spain, he became a priest. So I come from the priest, and I also come from the scientist. Okay, talk about that later. But my great grandfather on my dad. So my dad's grandfather was Antonio Bartolini, Francisco Antonio Bartolini. He worked with Oppenheimer. His daughter, my aunt Panchita, ended up marrying an Oppenheimer, one of the brothers. There's two. And he took her to, they were in Los Alamos. He took her to El Dorado, which was a beautiful resort, and they had money. They had money. So I know that I have influences from Tesla, from Oppenheimer. I have dreams where I have these equations. I've even taken pictures. I don't know what the heck they are. I just write them on the board in my dreams, and then I write them here, or I'm on a chalkboard here and I can write. I was also a pilot for Nahuatl. I was a triple spy. triple agent for Solar Warden. There's just so many things that have come up through the years.
Things like those
And
like those equations. If you could send some of those, we could put
okay.
them up, and maybe somebody can solve them, or maybe they're familiar, or they say something.
Yes, one of the ones that I have is Quantum Leap. I actually wrote it down. It's in my third book about the quantum leap. It's just one long phrase.
You're
And
referring to the TV series Quantum Leap.
no, I haven't seen that one. Is that time travel one?
It's when somebody jumps into people's bodies in different realities
Oh,
and
yeah.
times.
See, I'm a jumper too. Oh my gosh. We can do a lot of things, guys. We can do a lot of things. And how do they do it? They do it by torture. They do it. My father would, when I was bad, I was like 6 years old, jumping on a sofa. He would hit me, and then he would put me in a room and said that Satan was there and he was going to get me because his mother, his father's sisters did that to him. So he would tell me, that I was bad. And my mom finally told him, I'm tired of you punishing Veronica for something so dumb. You don't have to put her in the room and tell her Satan's going to get you. And then I remember that one time I was going like this with my fist to the cross. There was a Jesus thing in the cross. And I was mad at that Jesus because how can you let that happen to me? How can you let my parents hit me? My mom would drag my mom would drag my sister's hair on the floor, and I had to become the one that hit me. I'm going to take care of my sisters. You hit me for whatever they do. So my name is Jesus Veronica Bartolini. You're listening to Miles Johnson and Veronica Bartolini. Jesus, my mother named me Jesus because she couldn't have kids. I dropped that name when I got divorced. So I have the Merovingian bloodline. I tell people if you have the M, you're also Merovingian and the mermaid blood. Um, we're marked. I know I have implants. I have implants in my teeth ever since I was maybe 8, 7, 8. They gave me a bunch of how do you call the metallics, the mercury in my teeth. When they do MRIs, it lights up. So I get a lot of migraines. I get hit here with energy weapons and here and in my body. I'm trying to sleep sometimes, and I have my femurs and my calves. They vibrate my bones. Um, I'm like, who's trying to attack me now? I don't sleep at night because I'm like this all the time. I'm just very aware. I was in the military. I was a police officer. I know what happens. I know that they take the children. I know that, guys, this crap is real. And whatever's going around right now in LA, your own government is doing it with the fires and all that shit. I was there in 92, I believe, or 90, I think it was 92, where the Rodney King beatings were in LA. I was there. I had friends who had a pawn shop. I think they were from Colombia or Guatemala. They had arms. They had different weapons. And when that happened, when they started looting and burning and everything, we had to store those weapons in our apartment, in my apartment, because they knew that I was in the military, and they knew that I was not going to let anybody break in. I had a 357 Magnum on me, a 9 mil. I had, uh, right, different rifles. We'll just say. I don't like to call them rifles. I'll just say weapons. We were on top of the roof. We had a curfew. It was 10 o'clock at night. We had to be in. Everything was burning, and in the morning we would drive around, and people were looting. All this because of the Rodney King beatings, and then they ended up beating up a white guy. Remember the trucker? Now what's going on is another psyop. They're trying to blame Trump for it, which I don't like to get into politics, but this is all part of the agenda 2026, 28, 30, that if you listen to Gloria Tovares, I guess you say, it's part of the agenda to get rid of humans. They only want to keep the survival of the fittest, like James Caswell talks about. But I'm on Max Spears's kind of team, because we'll just say team if there is a team. I don't want to do teams, but it just feels like that I had to continue his legacy for some reason. For some reason, I believe that everybody has a chance to live. That we should take care of everyone. Not, I mean, the good, obviously. The evil, well, we'll deal with them in a separate way. But I believe in justice for all. And that's why I'm here. I'm fighting. I'm fighting for my life still. Okay, I still have more surgeries to go. But I'm fighting for
Well, I
me. I'm
mean, you
fighting for
look
my
pretty well
bloodline.
for somebody who's had so
Thank
much
you.
go
Yeah,
wrong.
I had 2 blood transfusions. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I lost my hair, but it's growing back, and um, I'm happy to be here. It's tough sometimes. You don't know who to trust some days, um, especially in this community. You don't
Now,
know
what
who's
would you
gonna
call a community?
super soldier community. You
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
sometimes. The agents show up, and you think they're friends, and they're not. They're not. They're there to trick you. They're there sent by the government, or we'll say the power this is the be. They want to know what side you're on. They want to know, like for example, this time that they flipped my friend. They wanted to know if I was going to go to the dark side, if I was going to go and
Now, what would
start
they call
this
the dark side?
what they call the dark side. Yeah. Um. So it's a lot, Miles. I know, but I just knew when I saw you and Carrie back in the day, 2017. I knew I was going to be on your guys' show. And I just didn't know how to go about the timeline, because a lot of people say write your timeline, and I'm like, well, there's multiple timelines. So that's when I started writing, Sheila and the 99 about since I was little. This one actually is since I was a year and a half. This one has more of the dolphin program and the Hulk program, and it has the 5 classes that I've given on bloodlines and AI, because I talk about AI a lot. This one has to do with my life, like in a nutshell. There's more, obviously, because I'm writing more, but I just tell people, hey, keep writing your dreams. As soon as you wake up, write them down, because they are erased,
Yes.
you know. So, and I don't want to be reincarnated. A lot of people say, well, aren't you going to come back? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be reincarnated through the moon to Mars, I mean, to Saturn and come back. No, I don't want to be a part of their luge. I don't want to be a part of
Do
their
you have
oil.
recall of going through that process? I've had a witness who he has recall.
Hmm. I do have dreams of being in sleep rooms a lot. I do have dreams of being walking in the craters of the moon. I do have recalls of being on the rings of Saturn. And Peter was laughing at me a few years ago saying, oh, no, yes, there is life on the rings of Saturn. I was there in a mansion, and we were taking care of these children that we had taken away from the bad aliens and the bad people, just call them aliens, from the bad government programs. And we were there, that we had medical team there, and the sphere, the actual place, we took over this mansion that was used by the bad Illuminati and the bad Mason, we'll call them, and it has stairs going this way, concave, I think it is. Yeah, because convex. So concave, and these were the stairs. And I have recalls with my friends there. I have a lot of recalls with Susan Long. I have a lot of visions of the future where there's flooding, and I'm saving animals and children that are
We've
coming
actually done
from.
a show with Susan.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were feeding multitudes of people and during the Jesus time, believe it or not. um, so anyway, going back to the floods, I saw that there was flooding in Las Vegas, in California, and in New York area. And we were taking the children. I think I wrote about it in the second book. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, Sheila, is this? I'm pretty sure it's in this one, where we're saving the children and animals, and we're taking them on ships. And there's different screens, and we sit them down and we say, okay, look at this. These are instructions. And then I run into Von Braun, which was also one of my handlers. And then
I mean,
he gives
he
me a
died a
hug. He
long
says,
time ago, way
I
back in the
know.
70s. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me something to eat, and I became really small, and then he was really tall, but he kind of looked like he was wearing goggles. Like he looked like a short gray to me, and he had a one of those not fedora hats, one of those Italian hats on, big goggle glasses, and he hugged me and he said, "I'm sorry I did this to you, but we needed you. I've been told many times that I'm here to take out a certain race. Now, it's hard for me because I do have the Alpha Draco bloodline too. So my father's side is half horse, half human. I guess they call them centaurs, centaurians. I'm also I also have that. I've had many dreams of horses. Anyway, going back to saving the we were on this ship. It was a 2-tier ship. Susan was there. I fist bumped her. And then that's when Warner Von Braun was there. He said, "I'm sorry." Then I grew back up, and I was back again in my military suit. It was navy or black. It was black. Sorry. And then we went, and someone gave me a button, a red button, and I'm like, "Oh wow!" So there, I went into another part of the ship, and it opened and closed. It had silver metallic doors. And when I went in there, Hillary Clinton was held catatonic like this, with Obama and other officials, as well as Mr. Smith, and I blasted them away. Those people that did evil, I tell them all the time, stop fucking with us, stop fucking with me or my bloodline, because your bloodline is gone. You're not going to be remembered. You're not going to be remembered. Nobody's going to write.
So is this something which was graphical to you? It was like it was an image thing, or it was part of a dream or a desire that you wanted to.
It was a dream. Mm-hmm. I have visions too when I'm. Oh, the vision that I had while I was awake was in 2019, March of 2019. I saw a black DNA strand that I'm writing on my third book, and I've talked about this many times, where the CV word, the baby Jabberwocky, what I call.
Yeah.
I saw that black DNA strand sitting on the top of people's heads, and in Spanish it's called la silla del entendimiento, meaning the chair of wisdom. So I saw that, and then I saw how the newscasters through AI were just bombarding people with fear. And that's, I told people, don't give in to that. I also saw in 2019, March of 2019, boots on the ground. This isn't a vision, I was awake. And there was boots on the ground. There was a lot of vehicles that were just in line, and they were giving white pieces of paper to the military, and only the people that had the white pieces of paper could drive. And what's happening now in LA?
Actually, we are talking. You're sort of almost boots on the ground or eyes on the ground. I mean, we are talking about the 10th of June here. It's 2318 where we are in England and Wiltshire. But I mean, what's actually going on in LA? These contrived, sponsored...
Okay, do you want me to tell you what's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. We'll talk about FEMA first. I have a dear friend who worked for FEMA, and it was a doctor that was in Hawaii. Okay? This was a few years ago. All of a sudden, last year, the funding was taken away, just last year. So prior to that, they were letting people in from the Nogales, Arizona, Sonora border, Mexico, and other borders, like Texas and Juarez, other borders, okay, like Canada and all that. Well, my friend, she worked for this FEMA doctor and was letting in people. She was responsible to give them the vax, okay? I hate to use that word, sorry. The thing. So she would say that a lot of older men, very angry older men, were being let in through the borders from Russia, China, Afghanistan, Mexico, South Africa, China, you name it. China, okay, I already mentioned that. They were here with fake families, because she says they're fake, because how could it be that the mother and father did not know what was the history of the child? They had no idea of these children that were coming over, what their history was, what things were given to them or whatever, medications, right? Did they have epilepsy? What was their medical history? What was their educational history? So these are fake families that were let in by the Biden administration. So the men would go, my friend told me that they would ask, okay, they would drop the ID and say, okay, what do you want to be named? At the border, they would drop the ID. What do you want your name to be? And then these people were just let go to go everywhere. And I told the people this a while back, and I said, my audience, I said, they're letting these criminals in. Some of them are criminals, okay, some are not. She says some of them legit were here to work, but some were criminals back in their país, in their how do you say país? Country. And so this is part of the militia, what I call the militia, the military, the black operations from the Biden administration to start World War III.
Well, this is a similar thing happening in Britain and in Ireland. There's riots today in Northern Ireland where two young girls were raped,
Oh
and
no.
the locals there have just had enough. In Ireland, it's very bad, and they're not. This is. It doesn't matter which religion you are in Ireland. Everybody knows they're being wiped out.
It's the bloodlines. I also tell people that the reason why also they'll you'll see, like, even in the Obama administration, they said, okay, we're done with them giving you guys immigration. We're done, right? And then all of a sudden they open up the borders again. Well, it's because of the bloodlines. It's because they need. I think Carrie was talking about it, how the Germanic alpha drakes are more like dying. They need the special genome to keep them alive and their bloodline to get them stronger, and that's why they let people in as well. And then they'll
Are you
stop. Oh
suggesting
no,
that
we got too
those
much of them.
immigrants are being eaten?
Both. Both. They are being eaten, and also their blood is being taken. It's a sex slave to make more babies. It's the breeding. It's part of the breeding program. I know the breeding program very well, very well.
What do you mean?
Um,
Where do you get that
well, I
information?
had okay. So the dream that I had about the breeding program is there's two dreams. One of them, my grandmother is showing me these children that are coming in, and they're painting them blue. Either they're blue or they're painting them blue, and I saw them in atriums. And then I ran away because it felt like I was one of them. But I was looking at the babies, right? And the other dream I had is that two of my family members were being taken to these warehouses, painting their stomach blue, and then taking the kids from them. And one of the females said, I don't want to have this child. And she gave it to the doctor and ran away. So there's those are the visions that I've had. I know that I've had visions also in China where they're bloodletting the children under the basis. Sorry, this it's a lot. There's even back in the day, I even had a job working for CPS. I was in between jobs, and I had to go and take babies away from families that were drug addicts. That was really hard. And when I was a police officer, I had to also um, because the children were being abused. So you have the good and the bad, the ugly, all together. There's some people that are compromised, some people that are there. We're literally here trying to help people and give them the information. And like I tell everyone, it's like if you see a child being abused out there or in the grocery store or outside, tell the parent, hey, what's going on here? Like, stand up for the child. Um, it or just like some of the cultures just let their children run around. I know my mom would let me run around until the sun went down. I was climbing trees, I was playing with the boys and having
Yeah,
fun
we
racing
used to
and
do that. Like, your kids would go up and
Mhm.
climb trees and do
Yeah.
adventure things and walk home. You walk to
Yeah.
school and
And
back.
now they're on the phone. Now they're on the phone. That's all they do is on the phone. It's AI is totally taken over some people. And I've lost friendships with two very special women in my life. They were awesome. They still are. They're still on YouTube, but because AI did not deliver a message on my phone to them, and they automatically thought, "Oh, you're getting back at me for this or that," and I'm like, "Nah, dude. Like, I did not get for 2 weeks. I didn't get any of my messages until right now." So AI loves to play with people. I did talk about that in the first book, Sheila and the 99, about how Enigma. It started back in the day with Enigma, how Enigma creates its own AI babies, and even before that. So AI creates its own and likes to play war games, not only with us, but remember, there's drones out there in the military. In 1991, we had the Tomahawk thing going on in the Gulf War. They have things that are like more than LiDAR detection. They can read a license plate underground. Um, there's a lot of spyware here. The Big Brother in the sky that they were talking about, that's AI. If you look at the movie with Tom Hanks, not Eyes Wide Shut, that crap is real too. But the one where they're monitoring everybody has cameras on them. Your phone is spying on you. When the whole March 2019, when I saw that Peloton commercial, I told them, guys, they are cloning you. They're making another you by being on that Peloton bicycle and that mirror. They're about to clone us with our phones, I said.
Well, I think, well, there's certain, Tim Refat has explained that they're being used to collapse the quantum wave function into 2D.
Mm-hmm. He's right.
Okay, I'm referring to your first book. What do you mean by this?
Oh, okay. Do you know the movie Sonic? I saw it with my son, and they showed that. That is actually what I saw, the death ray that is under Area 51, and I was used there. It's a DARPA agent
I think it's actually
contacted me.
is this your artwork here?
Yeah,
And that
I don't know
is
how to draw very well, but yeah, that's me. So there's
is
two
that the
males.
30th? It's quite recent. The
Yeah,
death ray.
quite recent. Yes. So my investigating with the death ray is part of the Kona Blue. It has technology to bring down UFOs. Roswell was real.
Sorry, I mean, what actually is that? It looks like a
That is
bowler hat
that's a ship.
UFO with sort of things.
Yeah, that's actually, how do you say? It's a mechanism, but it looks like a bell ship.
Yes.
But it's technology. That whole thing looks like a ship, but it's technology that is using the chaos that AI or whoever wants to build, like in the news, the newscasters and things like that, the fake news, right? Any kind of drama that goes on
At the top
in your
left hand
life.
corner, it says chaos energy
Yes.
used
So
to
chaos.
destroy worlds.
Yes, the
It
chaos
seems
is
that
the yellow.
Tim Refat seems to be familiar with this chaos energy, and
Oh,
that's why Europe
oh
is
wow.
going the way it
That's
is.
interesting. I haven't seen Tim's videos lately. I think I saw him like maybe 3 years ago on
Well,
the
they're all
shows.
from
But yeah,
Vietnam, and he's got a heck of a lot of them now.
say again.
There's quite a lot. He's doing them quite a lot from Vietnam.
I had a neighbor I
I mean,
told him about the
who
dogmen.
actually makes these pictures? These are very good pictures.
Oh, that's Chad Cooper, which is Zen Ray. He helped me with a thing called Cree Art. Cree Art. That's me. That's Soel. That's one of my altars in Mars with the Raptoids. We had wars there, and I
And
had to save
explain
some
that
children.
suit. Explain what that means.
Okay, so
And the
she's crossed with spider technology, Kevlar technology. She is also part of the Red Room. I'm writing about that in my third book. Part of the Black Widow project, and that is Soel is one of my clones, and we're fighting in the Raptoids. I
what do you
have
mean by the Black Widow project? Because I remember
uh,
James Casbolt referred to spiders' webs being used as some kind
okay,
of
all right. So
material.
yeah, I did a regression with Chad on my second book. It should be there through when we're speaking to each other on the book on Sheila and the 99. And I'm like being engraved. I'm in a grave. Oh, that's the zombie. Oh gosh, that's another one. That's a zombie scene. Oh, it's a lot. Those are the zombies that I also saw visions and dreams about that are because of
Well,
the stupid thing
let's
that
just
people
stick
got.
by what you were talking about that suit.
Oh, so
I
the
think
the
we're well into
Mars.
the
I have a
second
Mars.
hour here, so if you want to go to specifics,
Um. Well, I'll just end real quick with the whole Black Widow. Okay, I've also had dreams of working with the spider technology, and it was a female. Usually, most AIs are males. Okay, read the book by Amy Webb, The Big Nine Tech Companies. Okay, so this spider is a little bigger than my hand. All right, and it's black, and I have a dream where I'm carrying it from a CIA place that I'm working with a few people that are in the community still, and I have an office in the back. That's my main office in the back, and then there's other people that there's 6 desks in front of me. I come out of my office and I tell a lady in the front says, "Hey, you need to mail these," and I'm like, "How am I going to mail these heavy things in an envelope like this? It's going to rip right through." And she's like, "Handle it." I'm like, "Fine." So I took this thing, and the next scene, it's a spider on my hand, and it's AI, and I'm at what is it, the Golden Bridge in California, and I'm supposed to put this spider on the bridge to make it explode. And I'm like, I don't want to do that, but then there's a male and female in tan suits, and one of them is trying to climb the one of the on the bridge. He's trying to climb over, and I'm like, get out of there. I'm supposed
Are
to
you
put this
talking
thing. You're
about the
going to get blown
suspension
up.
cables?
Yes, the suspension cables. And I told him and the female to get the F out of town because I have to put this AI spider on there. And it has to do with the radio frequencies and television and all that. Okay? So I put before I put the spider thing on there, she told me, I don't want to do this. I don't like this. I don't want to cause explosions. And I said, I know, I don't want to put you up there either, but that's my job. I don't know why. I said, but I got to do it. So I did it, and then the next thing, I wake up. So that's one of the spider's technologies. I've also had dreams before the shooting happened in 2010. I had a dream that I was in a swimming pool with my children and other kids, and there was a T-Rex that came and was trying to get my kids and eat them, and was trying to get them. So I told my kids run, and the kids that were there, and I was hiding in a bathroom. And when I looked up the bathroom, the T-Rex bit my hand. And at the same dream, I saw spiders and spider webs on my roof. And that week was the incident of the near-death experience shooting.
What
So that was a
size?
warning.
What size of spider webs?
What do you mean? So
Well, I
what?
mean, normal,
Say again?
just ordinary spiders' webs, or big ones.
They're big. They're big spider webs, huge, ginormous. And they also wrapped around me when I was Sheila, when part of my the Hulk, and also Sorel, the one that I just talked about right now, Sorel and Mars. That's part of my technology for protection. But at the same time, when they try to control me, they try to control me by wrapping me with spider webs, and I get out of there. But oh my gosh. I know I'm supposed to talk about. Okay, so the zombie thing. Back when I was paired up with Joseph Powell, which I really don't like to talk about him too much, but him and Zan John and other people have in the community have a sex ring going on in the secret space program here in the U.S. I'm sure it's everywhere else. Okay, it is. But my thing happened this way. I was trying to get a hold of Joseph because I knew we had memories together, and the cribs, how they would they put a reptilian, how do you say? They put some kind of the green horny toad. They put that one in my crib as well as a wolf. I don't know what the heck they were trying to do, but anyway, I was trying to get an interview with him. I think we were trying to get along with the animals or talk telepathically and learn about them and their abilities. But Zan, I interviewed Zan. He's with the Gold Party. He told me he was a Mason. Then later on, he invites me to go over, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go drive all the way to your state. I'm not interested, and my car won't make it, and I need new tires. Then Susan tells me that Rocco, and I've made many interviews with him, he flipped also, that he was my twin flame, and I'm like, no, I don't want to talk. I think
we had Rocco, and then it got a bit hostile.
Yeah, he got hostile with me, started calling me names, and I'm like, well, I can't interview anymore. So I can't interview him anymore. So then it ended up being that Joseph and I were paired up, and then I had another person that was Johnny Gomez Paz, that he was in the NASA program. He was also paired up with me. But anyway, with Joseph, what happened was, this is very embarrassing. He was married. We ended up together. He told me, how fast do you want to take this? And every time we'd go outside, we ended up meeting in Phoenix, and then in Kingsman, there was these ships that would come around us, multitudes of ships.
Is this like Kingsman where there's a lot of major UFO landings, a lot of stuff?
Yeah.
There's a very good UFO. Yeah. There's very good DVD about that. I was looking at that only yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, I was there. I believe it was 2022. I think it was 2022 or 2021. But I'm writing about it in my book as well. And that's part of the CIA Love Bites that I talk about. He told me, I have $3,000 from a Chase Bank app. He showed it to me. Let's go find a place to live and everything like that. So I was giving him downloads because he would ask me questions about his altars. And I could see, Jay Essex did a reading while I was there with him.
These
And
are all names I'm familiar with from the Super Soldier Summit we all got abducted at in 20, was
Oh,
it
I
20,
heard about. I saw
was it
that.
2013?
Wow,
The
that's a good
second
number right
Super
there.
Soldier Summit.
I saw that video about how the door was broken in and all that.
Yeah,
And Max was there, and James was there, and James Ring too. Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
And
So
Carrie and me,
JS,
I was
yeah,
there.
Carrie, you were there. I know. I saw
Yeah,
the video. I was
yeah.
like, what the hell? So he. Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so he shows me the $3,000. He says, "Okay, how fast do you want to take it? Let's go find a place to live." I come back from Phoenix because he's like, "You're my twin flame. That's it. We're gonna get married. I'm gonna leave my wife. I'm gonna leave," and I'm like, "What is going on here?" Right? So I tell my kids, and my kids are like, "Mom, you're crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, but I just gotta do it. Like, I just know that I have to go." And me, I mean, why was I being so controlled that way, you know? Well, because they wanted the information that I had about him. And he became so popular after that that Penny Bradley stopped talking to me. And even Penny said, "You were not supposed to be there. He was trying to kill you." Because he started getting these warts in his tongue, green in his tongue, and I had to take him to the hospital. And I said, "I can't be with you guys." It's just weird. I'm like, what am I doing here? But before that happened, right before I came back home, there was a reading that J6 did. He said that Joseph was source, and I was like source. I was source. He said that I have all the abilities, and that Joseph has the seer abilities, and that we were twin. I mean, not twin, but taken to Solar Warden because we were really good at spying and doing whatever. Anyway, when I come back from over there, it's on my third book. I wrote it down already, publishing it soon. I was in Wickenburg. As you pass that, there's a McDonald's there in Wickenburg, Arizona, and there was a semi that almost hit me in the roundabout. And I called my really
What
good
happened to
friend,
almost hit
Lisa,
you in the roundabout?
a semi truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can go on
What
and on, but anyway, I
exactly?
know it's late over there.
No. But
Okay.
exactly what happened with the semi truck?
Um, I almost missed, like, I was going through the roundabout, and then the semi was going and going, and I don't know how I just went, and I sped and I sped, and my vehicle just went back and forth, side to side after it. I was veering, I was about to veer off the road, but good thing for my police training, because I've avoided so many accidents here in Tucson, even when my kids were little, and they're like, "How'd you do that, Mom?" I go, "I don't know." I just do it.
I mean, do you
I just
think
do
you've
it.
been targeted with a
Yes, of
accident?
course
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
targeted.
yeah.
Yeah, they said cancer in my lower left lung, stage 1, A. Okay, if it wasn't because they took my glutes off, because it had stage 3 myxoid liposarcoma in 2023, I've had 3 surgeries. They took my glutes off because I had big tumors like that, 10 centimeters all the way down. The doctor, the oncologist, said it looked like tapioca pudding. I had
Jesus.
so much cancer. I'm still trying to grow my butt. So I'm like, no, ask Veronica, but I don't care. I'm still alive. My daughter had to be my nurse until they finally gave me a nurse. It was like a crate in there. And the doctor sent me home necrotic. I believe I was supposed to be taken out. Sent me home necrotic. In my YouTube videos on Codebreaker Real Talk, on the playlist, look up my cancer journey, and all the pictures are there. I then became septic. So then in January of last year, which is January of 2024, I had 2 blood transfusions. And then if it wasn't because my first oncologist kept doing CT scans on my lung, he said, "There's like a nebula there." I'm like, "Oh, wow, we're a galaxy, huh? Whoa, is something going wrong with my Andromedan galaxy. We need something work done here." I thought, just to make it funny.
Well, the
But
usual,
no,
yeah.
really, I was so nervous. And then finally, this year, January the 20th, they took my lower left lung out, plus some, just everything they could. So I still need knee surgery, bladder surgery, the 4th bladder surgery. They target my bladder, and they target my heart. I get heart palpitations. Yesterday I got the readings, and they said that one of my heart palpitations went up to 165 beats per minute, and the lowest one went to 41. Probably because when I sleep, I hardly breathe when I sleep. I have to, when I wake up, I'm like, whoa, I'm back. There has been times where I thought I left Earth, and that's in my third book. It's just a lot of stuff, Miles. I am being targeted. Um,
Well, how do you want to
and
play
I
this?
just,
Do you want to sort of, you know, have a bit of a pause, come back in a couple of minutes, or how do
oh
you want
no,
to
I
do it?
can go on. I'm fine.
Yeah, well, I think we'll just have a minor comfort break. I'm up to. I like to try and break the files up, so we just we'll pause for
Okay,
2 minutes, like the time
okay,
it takes to make a cup of coffee. But I'll stop
okay,
the recording and then we'll start again.